Oh, honey. The drama unfolding across the pond is nothing short of jaw-dropping. You'd think after all the Netflix tell-alls, California Sun, and polo matches, Prince Harry would be enjoying his happily ever after, but nope. The British public just body slammed him hard. And this time, it wasn't some troll on social media or a tabloid hit piece. No, this came from a legit national poll, and baby, the results are brutal. We're talking 62% of respondents flat out saying, take away his Duke of Sussex title. Like, rip it right off and toss it in the royal trash bin. That's not a cute little dip in popularity. That's a public execution in the court of opinion. And wait, it gets worse. Among older voters and conservative supporters, that number flies above 70%. Let that sink in. These aren't just a few angry Facebook commenters. This is the traditional heart of British patriotism saying, we're done with him. And before anyone tries to dismiss it like some TikTok poll gone viral, think again. This was a serious, weighty survey, the kind of poll that makes Parliament sit up and sweat. The numbers weren't asking, do you like Harry? Nope. They were asking, should he still be the Duke of Sussex? And a whole chunk of the nation shouted, absolutely not. Now you're probably wondering, why now? What pushed people over the edge? Well, sit tight. Because just days before this bombshell poll dropped, Prince Harry popped up on TV yet again. This time, he was getting all emotional in a BBC interview, talking about his strained royal family ties and how he is so concerned about how long his father has left to live. And instead of touching hearts, he triggered rage. That one line, I don't know how much longer my father has, it didn't come off as concern. It felt like a guilt trip, a low-key jab at King Charles on national TV. Folks weren't hearing vulnerability, they heard manipulation. And baby, the internet lit up. Cue the outrage. Twitter, breakfast shows, online forums, the message was loud and clear. We see what you're doing and we're not buying it anymore. And here's the tea. It's not just that one interview. People are tired. This is about a pattern, a vibe, a full-on PR circus. Let's not forget, Harry left the royal family in a flurry of statements and promises he wanted privacy, remember? And then what happened? Docuseries, podcasts, Oprah specials, bombshell memoirs. Baby, he didn't just tell his truth, he monetized it. And Meghan, she's out here sending podcast gift baskets with Her Royal Highness still stamped on them, even though the Queen literally said not to. Like, are y'all serious? The public feels like they've been played. They see a couple who bailed on the crown but kept the titles, the branding, the prestige. They skipped the duty part and held on to the perks. And now the Duke of Sussex title? It's starting to feel less like heritage and more like a Netflix logo. It stings, especially for Brits who actually believe in what that title stands for: duty, loyalty, service. To them, being the Duke of Sussex is not a branding opportunity, it's an honor. And Harry, he turned it into a streaming watermark. And just when you thought it couldn't get messier, Parliament got involved. Yes, you heard that right. Real politicians, real laws. The Titles Deprivation Act of 1917 is being dusted off. A law originally made to deal with royals who sided with enemy nations. Now, they're eyeing it for someone who didn't betray the UK to foreign powers, but who they say betrayed the crown symbolically. Over in Sussex, the actual place, not the title. The backlash is boiling. People who once waved Union Jacks at Harry and Meghan's fairy tale wedding are now signing petitions to strip him of his dukedom. One elderly woman's quote is going viral. He doesn't represent us anymore, he represents himself. Ouch. And the media? They're not letting this go. Morning shows, radio hosts, even politicians are echoing the same message. The people's prince has become the prince of profit. This isn't about cheating, scandals, or criminal behavior. It's deeper than that. It's about identity, trust, legacy, and the heartbreak is real. Because once upon a time, Harry was beloved, the cheeky one, the fun one, the soldier, the rebel with a heart. Now, he's the guy who left duty behind but held onto the branding for dear life. And let's talk Hollywood, darling, because behind the velvet curtains of media deals, executives are panicking. Harry's royal glow made him a hot commodity, but if that title is yanked, that glow fades fast. He won't be a prince with insight, he'll just be Harry with grievances. One insider said it best: without the Duke of Sussex title, Harry's not a royal, he's just a very famous expat with the podcast. Yikes. And while all this drama brews in the public sphere, guess who's saying absolutely nothing? King Charles. Prince William. The palace. Silent. But don't get it twisted. Their silence, it's calculated. It's not weakness, it's strategy. Insiders say King Charles is emotionally torn but institutionally firm. He knows this isn't just about Harry, it's about the survival of the monarchy. Charles has seen scandals, tabloid wars, and royal crises that could have burned it all down. He's not going to let this be the thing that shakes the foundation. And William, oh baby, William is playing the longest game. He hasn't raised his voice, hasn't clapped back, hasn't spilled one drop of royal tea, but insiders say he's privately furious. And he's letting Parliament do the talking for him. Every time Harry's memoir dragged him, every time Meghan dropped a veiled jab, William stayed poised, unbothered, unshaken. And now that the petition is in Parliament, William is letting it roll forward like a train with no brakes. He's not stopping it. He doesn't have to. That's the most savage part. Back in sunny Montecito, the cracks are showing. What was once pitched as a fairy tale escape is starting to look like a strategic retreat. Meghan's keeping busy. New projects, lifestyle ventures, maybe even a brand reinvention. But Harry? He's looking cornered. The public backlash, the poll, the petition, the media heat, the ice-cold response from his own family. And now, the very title that gave him power, prestige, protection could be stripped away in a quiet, precise legal process. No drama, no courtroom chaos, just legislation, a vote, a done deal. Once that title is gone, it's gone. No more press releases with Duke of Sussex, no more speaking gigs dressed in royal glamour, no more Prince Harry branding the cover of his next memoir, just a man with a mic, a memoir, and a public that's over it. The weight of the palace's silence, it's deafening, it's deliberate, and it's working. King Charles doesn't need to lift a finger. Prince William doesn't need to blink. Parliament is already making moves. The Titles Deprivation Act is creeping back into the headlines, not because of treason by war, but because of what they're calling symbolic betrayal. One MP said it best: titles are granted for service. If they're used for profit, then the monarchy has lost its purpose. And that, my dear, is the headline. It's no longer about gossip. It's about the future of the monarchy itself. Harry's post-royal life was supposed to be healing, but for the UK, it's become a cautionary tale. A prince who couldn't let go, a royal who wanted to be private publicly, a story that started with heartbreak and might end with history. Because if this goes through, it won't just be the end of Prince Harry as we know him. It'll be the moment when the world finally sees he walked away from the palace, but never really let it go. And now it might just let go of him. Let's not kid ourselves. This didn't come out of nowhere. The rift between Prince Harry and the royal family, it's been years in the making. But now it feels like we've crossed a point. Even courtiers are reportedly whispering that this is the final unraveling of Harry's royal identity. And guess who's at the center of the family tension? William. Yes, the ever so composed Prince of Wales, the future King of England. Harry's big brother. The man who once stood beside him at their mother's funeral, stoic, united, heartbroken. Now, they're not even speaking. Not text, not calls, not even a nod in public. Zilch. Because every time Harry opens his mouth, whether it's in a memoir, podcast, or a smug interview, another dagger lands. From tales of screaming matches to accusations that William physically shoved him, the damage is deep. And William's response? Strategic silence. No clapbacks, no scandalous interviews, no TikTok sob stories. He doesn't need them because the machine is already moving in his favor. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle's doing what she does best. Pivoting, sources close to her say she's quietly distancing herself from the royal narrative. Less emphasis on the Duchess aesthetic, more on Meghan Markle, the woman, the brand, the voice. She's been in talks for books, lifestyle platforms, fashion projects. Oh, very Goop meets Grace Kelly, minus the palace drama. But let's be real, that title still lingers in every pitch, every headline, every invite. Even her publicists can't help themselves. The Duchess of Sussex unveils new tea line. Her Royal Highness steps into wellness. Ma'am, the Queen said stop using those titles 2 years ago, and that's the issue. The branding is soaked in royalty while denying the responsibilities that come with it. To the British public, it's giving grifter vibes. A royal exit turned commercial launch pad. Now with the poll numbers roaring and Parliament watching, Meghan's facing a decision too. If the Sussex title is stripped from Harry, does it go with her as well? Or will she ride the storm solo? Time will tell. Let's circle back to that poll because that number isn't just brutal, it's historic. 62% of Brits across age groups, across regions, think it's time to strip Harry of his title. And over 70% of older voters? That's a landslide of disapproval. This isn't a petty backlash. It's a full-on societal vibe shift. Remember, these are the same people who cried watching Harry marry Meghan. The same citizens who stood in the rain waving flags, hoping this was a new modern royal fairy tale. Now, they're done. They feel duped, used, like they invested emotional capital into a prince who turned their support into a Netflix algorithm. And British lawmakers, they see it, they feel it, and they're ready to act. One MP even told The Times, if Parliament doesn't respond, we are failing our constituents. This is no longer a private family matter. This is a constitutional conversation. Constitutional, not dramatic, not clickbait. That's how serious this has become. The Duke of Sussex isn't just a fancy name, it's a pillar of tradition. It symbolizes service, duty, loyalty. So when Harry uses it to sign book deals, promote podcasts, or headline a tech summit in LA, it feels like a bait and switch to many Brits. And here's where it cuts deeper. He's not just cashing in, he's redefining what royal legacy even means. But not everyone is here for that reinvention. Royal titles are earned, not monetized, said one former palace aide. It's not a LinkedIn badge. It's a national emblem. And if Parliament follows through, they'll set a precedent that echoes for generations. No more freelancing royals, no more half-in, half-out deals. You're either in or out. And Harry, he might be about to learn what out really means. Let's talk strategy. Because if you think the royal family is just sitting back clueless, you're wrong. This silence, it's deliberate. A quiet game of chess, one they're playing like pros. King Charles knows he doesn't have to say a word. He's got Parliament handling the dirty work. Let the legislative process do what he, as a father, can't stomach. People close to Charles say he's heartbroken, but resolute. Because while Charles may be a dad, he's also a king. And no monarch survives scandal by indulging sentimentality. He's lived through Diana, through Camilla's PR apocalypse, through years of tabloid wars. He's not gonna let this be the legacy crusher of his reign. So if stripping Harry's title is the price of peace, he'll pay it. Quietly, elegantly, surgically. And William? Well, he's letting Parliament deliver the verdict while the public delivers the applause. Savage, royal, effective. Now, let's jump across the Atlantic. Because in sunny Hollywood, where producers once lined up for a piece of Harry and Meghan, royal rebels, things are starting to chill. You see, the magic trick was always this. They were royal, but rogue, glamorous, but controversial. They were the brand. But if that title disappears, so does the illusion. No more royal aura. No more tabloid mystique. Just a guy with grievances and a woman trying to rebrand wellness. One top studio exec reportedly said, without the royal title, Harry's just a celebrity with a complicated family history. And there's a lot of those in LA. Translation? His value plummets. The Duke of Sussex was never just a name. It was the hook. And without it, there's no crown, no glow, no sell, just silence and reevaluation. So what's coming? Here's the inside scoop. Parliament isn't moving rashly, but they are moving. Behind the scenes, legal advisors are treating this like a serious case. Advisors are combing through the Titles Deprivation Act like it's an ancient spell book. Votes are being counted, petitions are gaining steam, and there's a real chance, a historic one, that the Duke of Sussex could be erased by pen and procedure. No court hearings, no yelling, no camera flashes, just ink on paper, and once it's signed, there's no going back. Imagine it, a press release with no crest, a book cover that reads just Harry, a speaking engagement with no royal context. It's not just rebranding, it's identity collapse. Because Harry hasn't just used his title, he's built his entire second act around it. And when the music stops, when the last headline fades, when Parliament turns the page, will the world still care? Will he? Because you can walk away from the crown, from the tabloids, from the palace, but if you never let go of what you left behind, don't be surprised when the institution lets go of you.